Okay, so this is a video about the Bachman DCC on board 44-ton locomotives. You can find these pretty cheap every now and then. Sorry for the shaky cam. They come in the blue box like this. And I'm making this video for a couple of reasons. One, there's not a lot out there about how to take them apart. And two, there's some talk about taking capacitors out of these 44 tonners for the purpose of making them quieter. And so this is a two-part video to see whether it actually helps. But so I'm going to start by going over how you get the shell off one of these, because it's not real clear for some people, and I just want to share that. So hang on, we're going to switch to another view. Okay, so to get the shell off one of these, it's pretty straightforward. What you have in here, if I can show it carefully, there's a screw hole here, and there's a screw hole here. They're fairly soft screws, so you really want to have a screwdriver that's pretty close to what it should be. I found the best fit for mine, if I can get this into shot, something called a PH00. I think that's a 60 millimeter by 60 millimeter. Okay, so I'm guessing that's the length versus it's a PH00. Screw tip. That was the best fit I had from all my stuff. I was playing with cell phone style screws. Those bits are almost too small. Once you pull the two screws out of here, all you need to do is you just simply lift the shell right off the top. The couplers don't have to come off. Some instructions for the older ones say you got to do that. You don't have to do that with these. You can see the two screw holes right here where they reattach underneath my thumb there. So back to it. I'll be right back. Okay, so why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because these things buzz. And I was hoping, I had read that you could cut capacitors off the chipset, or off the board, off of here, and it would make them quieter. So this one here is a stock one. And as you turn it up, I'm going to try to be quiet so you can hear this, hopefully. Okay, so what I'm trying to avoid is that buzzing noise when they start up like that. Because I have some other locomotives that aren't that buzzy when they start. So my thought was that I would go ahead and I would take the board and I'd cut the capacitors off and see if it was any better. Now this is unshelled. And honestly, I'm not noticing much of a difference. So whether or not that helps, actually, I'll put the shell back on and see if that matters at all. So I've dropped the shell back on it. It's not screwed in, but and again, so that's the clipped one, and this is the unclipped one. Yes, there's a front and back on these. So I'll put the unclipped one, we'll start that up. And I'll tell you the truth, folks, I can't tell a difference. And since I've screwed this, you can see how easy the shell comes right off of this thing. Well, not quite, because it does clip just a bit. So we're going to go back to the bench. Okay, well, so we're back at the bench, and I'm just going to pull this up out of the way. That's your DCC chip, if you didn't know that. So essentially, what did I do? Well, some guys claim that clipping the capacitors off this actually was listed as something to do on the Bachman site. This is a, sorry about all the bouncing. This is a noise canceling for European electronic standards or something like that. You can dig into it if you want. I'm not going to waste anybody's time going into it too far. But the idea was that these, or the thought was that these capacitors were causing noise, which is what I thought I was hearing. And like I said, I got a couple of these really cheap, and my plan was to actually convert a couple of these. So even if I had blown this up, I just rewired it with a regular DCC setup. But anyway, so what we have here is there are 4 capacitors on this board. I'm going to try to zoom in. It's kind of hard to see. Okay. Hopefully you can bring this up on your screen. There's 4 of them. There's one here labeled C. That's C1. Okay, sorry. That's C1. You got C3 and C4 right there. And the reason you can't see them anymore is because I've slowly ripped them out. These are disconnected now. I busted them in half and then scratched out so you can see there's open space now. The capacitors are gone. And then there's one more right here. That's C2. I believe. I might have numbers wrong. I think it's 1. I'm sorry. No, it's... Well, sorry. Yeah, the focus isn't good, and my eyes aren't good enough, and I'm not going to pull the photos up. But anyways, you got 4 of them. You got 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is on the end. They're all labeled with the letter C. Like I said, I've ripped them all up. Guys, they don't help. Or this doesn't seem to help. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. If there's someone out there that sees this and says, hey, you missed a step, or hey, you blew your locomotive up, whatever. But I've done this. The other thing that's different between this locomotive and the other one, which I'll bring forward, is that I have oiled this one a little bit, and I haven't oiled the other one. They're both right out of the box, and the oiling didn't make any sound difference before I went to this stage of it. They both have run for about an hour on a loop track, so both ways. So there's some break-in already on them. They're not fresh out of the box, which could be part of the problem. Hopefully someone finds this useful. If not, well, it's a video. Maybe someone else will need help getting the shell off. Thanks for watching. Todd out.